St. Louis, Missouri, or Kansas City, Missouri, from by way of France. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm from France. Yeah, I'm sure you can hear it a little bit.
How did you make that journey to Kansas City? Did life take you there? Family take you there? Girl take you there? Guy take you there? What was that like?
Well, actually, I used to live in south of France, right?
Yeah.
Minding my own business. I used to live on my sailing boat and running boat in south of France. And I had a calling. I did that for like almost a decade, right? So I was like a sun chaser, right? When I was not working in south of France, I will travel in the south hemisphere and enjoy myself and party a lot. I mean, I was like 22, 20, well, yeah, 22 years old when I start my own business, right? So I saw myself helping people. And so to make a long story short, I decided to go and go with chiropractic because we are talking about the innate intelligence, our own ability to heal ourselves. And that was truly fascinating to me. So I came to the US and ended up in Kansas City because I had to do some prerequisite, right? I was in South Carolina to start with. And I did graduate in 2.5 years from Cleveland Chiropractic and decided to start to practice, right? And do continue my entrepreneurship.
That's what I was going to ask you, man. You're one of my first episodes, Alan. Since I kind of rebranded, I recorded about 100 or so episodes under the Second Chance podcast, and your story fits right in line with that. But I've rebranded everything for this next phase of being under the Jeff Robertson show. So it's very, very broad in the conversation, and you're one of the first guests that I've had on the new. But we're still talking about that same conversation of resilience and how you had this ability, and where it intrigues me. I can't imagine, like, I have friends that have never left the county that they grew up
I
in,
know.
right? So I can't imagine leaving your country and going to another country, and it's just like that's just the ultimate in bravery to me. Is just like, oh, I'm going to America. I'm leaving France and I'm going to America. What is this? Is that kind of how you've always been, where you're that adventurous, and or was there outside forces kind of nudging you in the right direction?
Actually, both. I always been adventurous because when I saw in my family and my family's life, everything was already preconceived, right? Pre-done. You know that what's going to happen next, and they get married. I got married. I have nothing wrong with that, and to have kids, but still, I had dreams, right? I think the worst things that you can have it's having no dreams in your life, right? And so it doesn't mean that you have to move to accomplish your dream and go somewhere, but for me my dream was the most important things. And so and I always had that free spirit because I thought, freedom was so important for me, right? I mean, the boat is the symbolism of freedom, right? You cannot do nothing better than that, right? And
Yeah.
so I thought, like, freedom was from it was in the outside, right? And so basically, freedom equal adventure. And trust me, we had quite a bit of adventure traveling and that boat rental business, man, I can wrote several books about it, right? I mean, so I had, that's what I thought, right? And so, but when you've got a calling also, you cannot just help it. You just have to do it. It's
Yeah.
like, that's the best way I can describe it. So it's a blessing, right? You have been blessed by, it's kind of like your mission in life has been handed to you. So just have to try it. There's no choice. I want to make sure there's no choice. So I don't take a lot of credit about that, right? After what happened down the road into my life, that's a different story. But for me, just moving to the US, that was a very good combination of all that, what I wanted to travel, learn a different culture, and learn something that with it, I will be able to help a lot of people because at the core, that's who I am.
Let me tell everybody who you are. Dr. Alain Salas, Dr. Alain, Alain Salas. So we pronounce it in the States, Alain.
That's fine.
Alain
No
is
problem.
the French pronunciation. He's a former boat entrepreneur. And we just touched on that when you were like in your 20s. And I want to hear more about that. Boat
Sure.
entrepreneur turned chiropractic physician who experienced the highs of success and the lows of burnout, divorce, and cancer. His journey led him to discovery a breakthrough mindset system that helped him rebuild his health, relationship, and income. Now he's on a mission to help others unlock their full potential. I'm excited to get to know you and learn more about your mindset system because I love those conversations and I spend a lot of time passing and working and client facing, but man, I need my own little reboost sometimes for just find clarity in my own work and what I do. But take me back, man, and you touched on it. Where does your entrepreneurial spirit come from? It's not when you say I was 23 years old and I became a boat entrepreneur. That's easy said, but it's not necessarily. It doesn't always come together like some folks. How did you get started in as being a in your initial entrepreneur journey?
Well, I used to work like for Alcatel Thompson. It's like a big company for phones. So I used to travel with them, and I will go to Black Africa, to even to Iraq, and do some installation for the phone, right? And so I was doing that. I had a big car accident in Baghdad, Iraq, right? So I have to. They brought me back through the plane. I mean, it's a big story by itself. But and after I said, I always wanted to have a boat. That was my goal. And I ending up after having enough money to buy a boat. So I put all the money that I had. I swear to God, I was broke after that. And I bought a boat. And I said, and now what's next? I had no idea, zero idea. And after I took some classes, for knowing how to pilot, if I can say, the boat, right, and to sail. And one of my I ended up in an area that I used to work. It's called Port Camargue in the south of France, right, by the Mediterranean Sea. And I met that guy, and I talked to him, and I said, "Oh, do you still have your boat? How your boat rental business?" I know he wanted to sell it, and he said, "Well, the guy didn't buy it." I said, "Oh, I'm interested," and I went for it. I mean, sometimes you just have to go, and I truly believe in life when you let go of things. Totally, you let go of things, and you let this unfold. And I know it sounds like, especially when you're an entrepreneur, because you need numbers, right? There's a business. We have been taught to use only our rational mind, but this is a tiny part of our mind, right? That's a problem. We think that we focus only when we want to heal, to grow, and to transform ourselves, only a tiny part of our mind, right? And so it's actually, if you want to know, it's only 5 or 10% of our mind is like what we call our conscious mind. So it's our self-identity, who we think we are, right? It's what we are aware of, meaning our thought, our emotion, and our behavior, and our action, right? So this is only 5 or 10% of our mind, and 90 to 95% of our mind is called the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, you've got like everything that has been happening to your life from age zero to now is recorded there, right? And so also all your skill as a entrepreneur, as a human being, whatever skill that you need, they are also coming from your subconscious mind. All the things, the automatic system in your body, like you don't have to think about it, like your heartbeat, your breathing, like your digestion, come from your subconscious mind. And yet, we focus only on our conscious mind when we want to, again, heal and grow and transform ourselves and change our mindset. So I thought about it. I said, why not bringing the subconscious mind to the party and using 100% of our mind power? That's what mind clearing is about.
That's hard to implement, right? Like it's really, folks. And we're live here. I want to that Alan makes, and I have this ability too. You make it sound like it's super easy, but the implementation sometimes to be able to get that person to be thinking like what you just explained. That's the hard part. There's the trying to find the relatability in the conversation or the motivation that you're trying to give. um, how do you help make those connections and help someone find that to where it becomes involuntary?
Yeah, well, it's like everything in life. You need to. I used to travel a lot, and I used to meet cool guys, but they didn't speak the same language that I did, right? So it was very frustrating to me. So for everything, you need to talk the subconscious mind's language, and in my field, they don't. They say, oh, if you want to engage like the remaining percentage of your mind, the 90 to 95% of your mind, you need to have a diary. You need just to do lots of affirmation and visualization. I say, no, you need just to speak the same language. And if you look at your mind as a computer, right, Jeff, if I compare your mind to a computer, your brain will be the hard drive.
Yeah.
The software will be your subconscious mind. The output of the software will be your conscious mind, right? And your behavior will be reflected on the screen of life, right? And so what people don't know is like our subconscious mind has all our subconscious mind have been programmed. You have been programmed. I have been programmed. Everybody listening to that program, if I can say that, has been programmed. And so anytime we can be programmed, right? And so what do I mean by that? Well, especially when you are around the age to 0 to 7 years old, we're like sponges, right? Like the kids, they're like sponges. Actually, we use even different brain wave, like theta, beta wave. So it's more like a hypnotic stage. So all what we see in the outside, we think it's the truth. So we assume it's the truth, right? So if you assume one time, two times, it becomes a program. And that program is set up in your subconscious mind. It means you're not aware of. You're not really know what those programs are about. And those programs are actually dictating your life. They are controlling you. Especially the program that are not serving you, because you've got two kind of program. You've got a program that are serving you. It's kind of like, I'm sure, Jeff, you have a day that, man, everything is like unfolding like crazy. You're super productive. And you say, man, today was really a great day, right? So it's kind of like your mind is working for you instead of working against you. So you're using this positive programming that we call empowering belief, right? It's all the things that are really super positive, and again, your mind is working for you, right? And after you've got another kind of program that we call limiting belief, and it's when your mind is working against you instead of working for you. It's like you wake up and you're not even productive, you are counterproductive, and you say, man, I wish I would have stayed in bed, because all what I'm doing is just doing the opposite. The outcome is the opposite that I want, right? And those are called limiting belief, right? And those limiting beliefs are acquired from when we were young, from 0 to 7, but also at any time, right? You can like in PTSD, if you are like a guy in the military, and if I'm a guy in military and by mistake I kill my best friend, right? And collateral damage, well, so they call. I come back to the US, I'm a mess, because I feel guilty, shame, and my life can go in shambles, right? And so that's how powerful those programs are. It's kind of, it's kind of our past dictating our present and molding our future. So when we can delete those programs, imagine how powerful we can be and how much more in control we can be in our life.
You
Does it
see
make
that?
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I see it a lot with people in their relationship with money. A lot of my
Yeah.
my whole content cycle for the next quarter is dedicated on money mindset. Is when
Yes.
coaching business, Alan, in coaching business, you know, everything's like your business. Some business owners that are starting out in their initial phases, or they're trying to grow, or they're running out of money. In some cases, is they have a negative. They feel guilty getting paid for what they do, and right. And then,
Especially,
so I'm working on that a lot the next 3 months.
I bet, and especially like uh, in the healing part, right? Because we want to help people. We've got that heart, but a business you have to make money, right? I mean, there's no, when you understand. I think the breakthrough for me, and what I try to explain to people, is just to see money as energy, right? You need energy to do things, right? So you need to get money. And energy is not like, because you've got like, yeah, money doesn't go up on trees, or you have to play hard and work hard. Says who, right? Says
Yeah,
who? You see what I mean? So there's another reprogramming that can be done because of cultural aspect about money, or like rich people are evil, for like things like that. But when you see like we are energy, right? But bottom line, and money is energy, like that. It allows you to help maybe more people, do more things, be able to do things in your life, right? And that's fine. You deserve it, right? You are worth it. So after we go into the self-esteem that comes with it, right? And so because when you look at limiting belief, if you Google limiting belief, what you're gonna end up, it's more about self-esteem. I'm not good enough, I'm too young or too old to do this, and all that stuff, right? But it's not only that. I created a couple of systems, from that mind clearing program that I created, and one of them is called the body clearing. So it means that I can clear pain on people, just by reprogramming their mind, because our mind can create pain. Your mind can create symptom in your body. Your mind can create inflammation in your body. You better believe it, because I see that every day. So it's even more than limiting belief. It's how can we use our brain? We were conceived, like I said, that's going to be the title of my book, right? Maybe I shouldn't say that too often, because somebody's going to steal it, and it's okay, I don't care. But it's basically, we are conceived to succeed and programmed to fail, right? So it means
Great
at
way of
birth we've
putting it,
got.
dude. That's yes, yeah. That I could see where you might want to get that. We might want to put TM beside that for you.
You
That's
can
good.
use it if
You're
you
it's
want.
spot
I
on,
don't
man.
care.
But you're right on that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so, we are born with all that. When you see a baby, it looks like he's in another world, right? Because there's no analytical mind really developed, right? So it's all about the more about subconscious mind and being really at the moment, right? And after we've got this program that comes from our life experiences, right? And at the same time, we are involved with too much in our head. You see, the main problem that we had, I think, in society, we too much in our head because we have been told to resolve problems, right? Only things, right? And that's fine, we can do that, right? But the problem is either positive or negative things. Last time I checked, it's not very positive. It's a freaking problem, right? And so what happened is like when you resolve a problem, guess what? There's another problem and another problem, and it's a never-ending story. So, if you look at the stat, basically 80% of our thoughts are negative. 80% of our thoughts are negative. 95% of our thoughts are the same repetitive thought that the day before. So you like the hamster in the wheel, spinning, 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 spinning all the time. 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. I mean, we are like super busy there, right? So all our energy, if you want, go in our head and neglect the heart, right? And our will. Because I call that, I created kind of a philosophy in a way. It's called open mind, open heart, and open will. And the way we suppose if you are close-minded, right, what's going to happen, Jeff? If you're close-minded, you've got one problem or one challenge, you're going to see zero solution or maybe one. And all the other one, you're going to reject that. Oh, no, it cannot be, right? That's being close-minded, right? So when we get rid of some limiting belief, we become open-minded, right? We've got more we can see more possibility, right? So when we do that, also, if we treat some trauma, our heart can open like a flower. So the way we are conceived to make decision, it's not only for our analytical mind, but also from our heart. The way it's supposed to be, like in the mind, you open your mind, right? And so you've got all those possibilities. Now, how you're going to do it? You're going to follow your heart. Because your heart is why it's your purpose, is why you're doing things. It's really at the core of who you are. And the heart had been shut down. That's why all the things in our head, right? And after you need to have a will. So I call that head, heart, and hara in Japanese. Hara means the free H means gut. You have to have a gut to do it. You have to have the gut to take action, right? Because if you're stuck in your head, even in your heart, it's a fantasy, right? If you don't take action, as as an entrepreneur, if you're like, oh, that would be nice if I do this, and you never take a step, there's no experience coming out of it, because we are meant as human beings to experience physically, to experience by action and behavior, to experience that in the real world. That's how we learn. That's how we heal. That's how we grow. That's how we transform ourselves, right? By experiencing things. We need to have that physicality aspect of doing things, right? Otherwise, it's just a fantasy, right? If you say, oh, I'm going to become an entrepreneur, and after you're going to say, well, that's great. I'm going to sit up in the couch and wait for opportunity to come, right? Well, last time I checked, it doesn't work very well for people, right? And so it's very important to, they talk about use big word about the law of attraction, all that stuff. Law of attraction is like what? Having your heart, your head, and your heart in sync, right? That's it. But if you don't take action, if you don't manifest, that's what we call the law of manifestation. If you manifest things, that's where you want to be. So basically, you want your thought, your emotion, and action and behavior to be aligned. And when they are all aligned, you're unstoppable, man. Unstoppable.
You left France to pursue a degree and become a chiropractor. And is that what brought you to the United States?
Yeah.
Um,
Remember I told you the innate intelligence was very intriguing to me.
yeah. What did that? How did that evolve for you? And then how did it layer into this mindset? Because you weren't always this practitioner that you are now. You were living life in a different way. Your mindset training and stuff hasn't yet kind of come. What does like when you left France to follow that next calling you had, to be a chiropractor and come to South Carolina, like what, you took that big leap. What do you felt like that leap gave you? And did you think it cost you anything, or was it all part of your plan?
Well, I don't think I always have that free spirit and
Yeah.
adventure spirit. So for me, it was easy, right? I mean, it was a no-brainer. I had to do it. It's like when when you know that you just cannot, I had to cut tied, even with some romantic relationship, but I just did it. This was like, it's something that you just cannot deny yourself to do. That will be the highest betrayal that you can do on yourself, right? And so it was not very difficult for me to do that, right? But my brain was rusty, right? I mean, I used to party, get drunk every night. They used to call me the gypsy. So imagine I went to my parents and said, oh, by the way, now I'm selling my boat business, and now I'm going to the US to become a doctor. They look at me like, okay, sure. But, it's I've been blessed, right? I've been blessed. This I cannot take any credit on that.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. Like I said, kudos to you for just having the ability to just follow your gut and end up where you're, ultimately where life places you at. Somewhere, do you? And so I don't want to braze over this, but you became a practicing chiropractor? Did you run your own practice for a while, or do you still do that?
Yeah. So what happened? I mean, first of all, I met a Chinese doctor like in south of France that gave me some books to study. So I had like an open minded about healing, right? I was not about following a dogma, right? I want people to understand that. And so I started to practice chiropractic my way. Already in the clinic, I was doing technique that I was not supposed to do, right? But my patients were getting much better. So I said, I don't care. It's about them. It's not about, what I'm allowed to do. So I'll always be a renegade in a way, in my thinking and acting sometimes, I have to say. But anyway, so I started to treat people, right? And so I believe in few principles. And one of them is called the law of cause and effect. So for every cause, there's an effect. And I say consequences for my 8 years old, but for every cause, there's an effect. And for every effect, there's a cause. Therefore, if you've got a problem in life, and it can be any problem, Jeff, it can be a business problem, a mindset problem, it can be a prosperity problem, it can be a health problem, it can be a relationship problem. You need to know two things in order to resolve that problem forever. It's gone. Meanings, I don't even think about problem, I moved on. I'm not looking back, I'm done, right? So what are those two things? You need to know what's causing your problem, number one, and number two, you need to know how to fix it. If you know what's causing your problem and how to fix it, you're good. So I started to do chiropractic. People will get better, and after they will plateau. And to maintain the plateau, they still have to come to see me. I said, there's something wrong with that. It doesn't make sense to me. So either chiropractic is not the answer of all problem, of course, right? It's not, right? And number two, maybe the way to fix it can be improved, right? So I work on both of that, and I created my own technique. It's an energetical technique. I became a cranial specialist to make sure that I can impact over 80% more of your nervous system, right? So I started to do all those things, right? Because it's not complicated. People think that life is complicated. I don't think it is. Right? So when you understand some principle, and even those are super simple, right? I mean, what's causing it, how to fix it, apply that in your problem, like in your daily problem. Like, for example, if somebody take a drug, right, for long term, right, they say they want to see the MD, and they say, if you take a drug, you'll be fine, your mind will be sharp, right? Okay. But is it the lack of a drug that's creating your problem? It sounds stupid when I say that. No. So what is the real cause of a problem? And so that's why I always ask myself the most powerful question on earth is why? Why this is happening? Not why me, right? That's a victim mode, but why? Why this is happening? And the question why is coming from your heart. That's at the center of things. Why are you doing things? What is your purpose? Right? Because we're talking about mindset and things like that. I think to me it's very important to know your purpose, your real purpose. Because if you tell me my purpose is to make $5 million, I say, okay, that's fine. But why you want to make $5 million, right? So we have to dig more. And sometimes there's some technique you can use, like very not complicated, that can short circuit the ego in a way and really go in a place where you can see what is really your real purpose, right? And when you've got this, that's power. Because that's coming from your heart. That's your heart speaking. That's the real decision maker speaking.
That's like, so I am right there with you on when things start to get a little shaky and you're finding yourself frustrated. Maybe you're set back, or maybe the same loop is repeating itself. If you'll stop and say, what lesson am I trying to learn here? What am I missing? What's life to, instead of just like you said, instead of saying, oh, woe is me, I'm bad luck, I'm all these things. If you will pause and say, all right, what am I missing here? And if you'll just reflect, most of the time the answer comes to you. Most of the time you may not be ready to take the next action step, but the answer is right there in front of you.
And I totally agree with you. That's the difference between being a creator and a victim.
Yeah.
A victim, you're going to look for outside circumstances and blame for it, right? Or why it's happening to me and things like that. But what you have to know, that bottom line, that's what quantum physics say. We are all energy and vibration, so it's a wave, right? In a way, there's positive and negative. Doesn't mean good and bad, right? That doesn't mean bad at all. But positive and negative, it means in life, you guarantee that you're going to go through ups and downs. This is a guarantee. And, I'm sure you're old enough, I'm old enough for sure to know that and to have realized that what makes the difference between people is how you deal with the high and lows. You see? And so that's where the mindset comes so important, right? And your purpose comes so important. Because your purpose is you are talking, so you really understand why, what is your mission, basically, right? What you have to, why are you doing what you're doing, right? So what is your mission? And after, so it's much easier after to have some distance between events, challenges, setback, things that are holding you back. And again, after, you need to have that mindset, say, okay, hold on, this is happening for my own good. There's a lesson for me to learn. And if I learn that lesson, first of all, it's not going to repeat that's not going to happen to me again. Right, number one. And number two, I'm going to grow tremendously for that. So I'm going to be, like in my case, maybe to be able to help people more, right? I'm going to have more peace of mind, right? I'm going to be more compassionate towards people, or whatever it is, right? I'm going to better myself. I'm going to become a better human being, because I truly think that's the goal in life, right? we can say to reach our full potential or things like that, but to be the best you can be, like if I can say something like that, that's really it. So it can be through uh, entrepreneurship, right? Because entrepreneurship is very cool for that. I've always been an entrepreneur except 2 years in my life, and I'm 63 years old, right? So I've been doing that quite a bit, right? And so, but it's a reflection of yourself, right? It's a reflection of actually your mind and your programming, the good and the bad, how you deal with life and all that. It's a macrocosm of the world, your entrepreneurship, right? And it's a
Yeah.
macrocosm of who you are as a person.
No, you're right, and I think sometimes where we're reluctant to go with the flow is sometimes a lesson involves some kind of change, or it's a disruptor of habit, or it creates some kind of uncomfortable moment where it might be time for you to promote to a new job. It may be time for you to move on to a new career. It may be maybe a new opportunity that life's trying to nudge you in, but you as a person is so used to your routine and the things that you've already locked into that you're fighting that opportunity. Um, I've witnessed, I've had that happen. I've witnessed that. I am a byproduct of that, of just life trying to say, hey, you need to move on, and me saying, no, I'm good, and life saying, no, we're gonna fix this. Um, so I think sometimes people get stuck in that loop of just not fully understanding that purpose, and like you said, of that lesson that people are trying to learn.
And that's was caused by the fear, right? We always have fear. Hold on, this is
Yeah.
good for me, right? I'm cool, fear of the unknown, right? Fear of whatever it is, right, for you, right? It's like different on every person, right? So that's number one. And having that, adventurous spirit and curiosity, I think, and just to be able to, it's like when I travel, for me, I will always go to places where the local goes, right? Because I want to know what their life are. And maybe it's a little bit dangerous or more, I don't care, but at least I traveled. My purpose was to meet real people, not like tourist things, right? Meet real people and see what happened.
Yeah, no, same. But I like to get out of the tourist spots and go hang out where the locals go. And when we go to town, we try to find, where the local spots are in different places for that reason. I like to get to know people. I like to see the areas that are
Yeah.
beyond those tourist areas. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Alan, you go through as a chiropractor, but you start to find burnout, and then you find ultimately cancer finds you. How did that become a turning point or a stopping point for you?
It was huge because I mean that's I'm gonna say something maybe shocking for people. That's the best thing that ever happened to me, right? And so it's kind of like when life's got more in store for you than you can even think for yourself, right? The universe or God or whatever you want to call it, depends what you believe is. You say, okay, hold on 1 minute. You think you were all that, you were seeing 250 patients a day, a week, I'm sorry, and all that, and you've got 4 employees, you're living the American dream, you've got the big house in the best neighborhood, you've got the dog, the wife, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But for me, it was not, it's not even like, it was not enough. It was like, it happened that was not the end for me. There was more in store for me, right? And so within a year, I ended up divorcing because I was always thinking about the business, right? Talking about being in balance and creating burnout, like you said. All my thoughts were about that. So when I was going home, I was there, but I was not present. And that's the truth, and of course I ended up divorcing. I had a young daughter, right? And so when you divorce with a daughter, it's never a handshake. So I started to become depressed and all that. And my business went from thriving to failing. Literally, I had 8 treatment rooms, and I ended up, living in my office for 3 years. And I say, oh, it's only 6 months, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a shower. I mean, it was a nice office and all that. But, and after I ending up having cancer. So, but I just need, in my mind, if I can say that, I never say, oh, why it's happening to me. I could have blame on my wife, could have blame on circumstances, whatever, right? That's easy to blame, right? But I knew that there was something deep within me that sabotaged that pushing me to sabotage myself in my health, my relationship, and my prosperity. I mean, what else? Even my job, because I was teaching people how to get rid of inflammation, which is the chemical stress, to avoid cancer, to avoid cardiovascular disease. Of course, I was doing my program, and imagine I got sick, so I have to rethink about everything, right? And it's like, it happened, I'm a doctor, right? But I'm just a man, simple man, but trying to find a solution for my problem. That's it. So I say, okay, what's left? I knew with the physical stress, I was pretty pleased, what the way I was helping people, for the inflammation, I was pretty happy with that, right? And after I just said, okay, what's left? Well, everybody's talking about mind and body, right? So let's discover the mind, and that has been my quest. What is the mind? And we started to talk about it, right? And what the heck is going on, right? So I discovered that I had negative programming. And one of my negative programming was, you can have success, but after you will lose it all. Right? I don't want that anymore.
Where does that come from, Alan? Where does that? So all right. So you I wanted to stop right there, because here's why. Is some of those, and I wanted to point this out to our audience, is some of those habits come from our most trusted people. They come from your mom. They come from your dad. They come from a relative. They come from a boss. They come from somebody that you hold in high regard, and that belief gets set to you because of the authority of the person passing it on. But that's what I've seen. Where does that come from?
I agree. It's like it's just come from other people.
Yeah.
Those are over programming, right? And again, it's nobody's fault. They're trying their best, right? They've been programmed. Nobody's asking to be programmed, right? You see, so it's not your responsibility to be programmed. But now, when there's a technology that can deprogram you, right? Now it becomes your responsibility to act on it, right? And so basically, with programming, do you mind if I give a short example for how they can impact us? Yeah, so let's pretend there's a little girl that her dad is an alcoholic, right? Drunk every night, come back home and beat up his wife. What do you think that little girl, when she grows up, she's a woman now, what kind of relationship she's more than likely to attract? What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, she's either going to be an abusive male relationship, or she's going to avoid it at all costs because of the negative impact it's had on her.
So the first thing, she's going to attract it, right? For sure. She's going to attract it. Avoid it. It becomes, you need a little bit more awareness, right? Oh, this is not good for me, right? And boost program. So here what's going to happen, right? Let's pretend, right? Case scenario number one. I agree with you. She's going to attract it. So let's see. So let's say I'm the subconscious mind of a little girl, right? And so first of all, we say she's going to attract it. So why? Why she's going to attract it, right? Is because of that negative programming, right? And if I ask that woman now, I say, oh, by the way, do you enjoy to get beat up like your mom? What's she going to say? She's going to say, heck no. So the conscious mind, her self-identity, is going to say no. But the subconscious mind has been programmed as men are predators and women are prey. So the way it's going to, because how she's going to attract that guy, she's going to pick up one guy and say, oh, can you come and beat me up? I don't think so. So let's say I'm the subconscious mind of that girl, let's say, and say, hey, look, this guy's got the predator program. He has been bullied, and now he's a bully. That will be a perfect match for you. You're going to fall in love with him, right? And after the subconscious mind of that guy is going to say, oh, look, she's got the prey program, right? And so you're going to fall in love because, she likes to be in an abusive relationship, right? And you're a predator. Perfect match. And so opposite's going to attract. I mean, like you say in America, it takes two to tango, right? And that's it. And so there's three different case scenarios. Case scenario number one, she's going to marry that guy and get stuck for the rest of her life. And everybody, we know a relationship like that, right? And we say, why she's still with that guy? She's got beat up. She called the police, best case scenario, and after she doesn't press charges and all that. Why? It's because she has been programmed. So who's winning? Who's in control here, right? Who's negative programming in the subconscious mind, right? Case scenario number two, she's going to attract that guy, got tired of get beat up. It's kind of like you've got a fire, right? You put your finger once, say, oh, it hurts. You put twice, say, oh, it hurts. And here I agree. What she's going to say, man, I'm done with men. It hurts too much. I put my finger in the fire. I understand. I'm aware now. I realize that it's not for me. And they will tell me, Dr. Salas, don't talk to me about men. I'm done with them. I know they're not good for me, right? But it's not true healing. So what will be true healing? Because we can learn from our life experiences, obviously. And so true healing will be she's going to attract somebody totally different. Somebody that respects her, that kind to her, somebody that sees her as an equal. And that's how you know that you have been healed. And case number 3, so there's not suffering. Maybe she's got kids along the way, and there's no guarantee of that she's not going to go to case scenario number 1, right? So case scenario number 3, she can come to see somebody like me, and we can reprogram all that. Because you can say...
So tell me this, and you teed me up because we're right on about 5 minutes left, but this has been a great conversation for good alignment as well, because the story stops right here. You've got kind of a 3-step process to help this little girl out. What is that? If they come to see you, Alain, give us a little overview of that 3-step process or your process that you work on to help rebuild health and relationships and income.
Yeah, Jeff, when you've got a program in your computer, remember we already compare your mind to a computer, right? So when you've got a program, you're not happy with a result. Oh, that's whatever it depleases you. What are you going to do? Number 1, you're going to trash it. You delete it, right? Number 2, you're going to go on Play Store and get a program that works better for you, right? And after on the screen of life, remember what you're going to see on your screen. You'll say, oh man, I like the outcome. This is so much, I can do more statistic on this and all that. It's much more convenient, much more helpful for me. Those are the 3 steps of a mind clearing. Number 1, you delete what you don't want, right? You delete your limiting programming, right? The negative programming so it's basically what you don't want. Let's see, if you're in your mindset, you are fearful of taking some risk, right? Pretty common, I'm sure. Fearful of taking some risk. So we delete that. We download instead you being taking some risk, but control, with using your intuition and your rational mind, right? So we're going to download that. And number 3, you want to make sure that you go create and manifest that into your life, into the screen of life. That's that simple. It's not complicated at all. And what is the language of a subconscious mind? It's picture, because the subconscious mind communicates with you, for example, when you remember a dream. What do you remember of a dream, Jeff? There's always a picture involved or a movie, right? I never heard anybody told me, oh, Dr. Salas, I remember only the smell of my dream. It's not possible. It doesn't make sense. So I will have you to visualize the circumstances, right? For example, where you're afraid of taking risk, right? And you want to take risk, but you've got that fear that comes from that damn program that you want to get rid of, right? You see what I mean? And so you're going to visualize that. I created a program, literally, that we're going to customize, and you're going to send the program to yourself in that picture. You are the one using that technology I created. You are the one using 90% of your mind power, right? And after, when we don't have to find out what is the limiting belief, because how do you expect using 5 or 10% of your mind, right, your rational mind, to crack the code of 90 to 95% of your mind? That's going to be very challenging, right? To say the least, the odds are not for you. So what you're going to do, you're going to replace with what you want, your ideal outcome, and you're going to picture that. And we're going to download a program and help you to customize that program to you, and you're going to send it there. And after number 3, we're going to download a new program to make sure you manifest. You take the first step in life, because goal setting, the problem with goal setting, we use only our conscious mind, not our subconscious mind. So imagine if you can bring 90% of your mind power, right? That's huge to set your goal, and after to reach your goal, if we use the conscious mind, I don't know if you've got time for me to go over that, if you're interested.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So first of all, if you are A and B, right? I'm starting, that's my current reality is point A. Where I want to be, it's B, right? So do you want to give a concrete example, or do you want me to go with A and B?
Whatever you feel like to help drive the point home for the audience. So whatever you take the lead here.
Let's pretend you want to have 100,000 subscribers, right? And you are where you are, and you want to have 100,000 subscribers in your podcast, right? Okay, so you want to make sure first that there's no limiting belief from your current reality to where you want to be, right? Which is 100,000. So we'll do that things, you delete, what you don't want, it's for you to fail, right? Not having them. And you download what you want, you having the 100,000 subscriber. And after we want to manifest that, make sure that it's going to do, but that's not enough. Now we want to make sure. So I will tell you, okay, Jeff, think about one step that you can take, right? Within a week, you will know if it has been working for you. So maybe you're going to tell me, oh, I'm going to call 10 people who have 100,000 subscribers and pick up their brain, right? So let's pretend you call those people and there's only 3 that answer, right? And 2 brushing you off and 1 really wants to help you. So whatever was disappointing to you, whatever resistance you were occurring taking that step, we're going to delete, download, and do mind clearing on that. So what's going to happen, you're going to get more clarity, more focus, and more certainty. At each step, we get rid of all those limitations, all those things that can prevent you to lose your motivation, basically, and your confidence, right? So all that, we get rid of it. And so let's see, let's pretend the ultimate knowledge for you to reach is here, and where you are is here, much lower, right? And so when you get to that knowledge, bingo, you will know what to do. So each time you're going to raise your level of clarity, you're going to raise your level of confidence, you're going to raise your level of certainty, and after you're going to resonate with that knowledge. Because each time you become better as a person, more knowledge you can have access to. Right? And so after we're done with that step, we're going to take another step. And whatever resistance you understand resistance, right? Things that didn't work your way or the way you were thinking of, we're going to delete that and download and make sure that it's gone. So you cannot lose motivation. You're going to increase your confidence and your certainty and your focus, right? And so it's only after you realize very soon, it's only a question of time for you to reach your goal. And in the same time, because we've got a preconceived idea how we're going to reach our goal, now you've got more clarity. Maybe you're going to course correct and say, oh, because you've got access to a new knowledge, you're going to say, oh, actually this way will be better, right? And so you become more open-minded. Remember what I was talking about, right? And you say, oh, why not trying that, right? Oh, silly me, why I didn't think about that, right? And so that's how you can reach your goal much faster.
Man, that is that barely scratches the surface, I think, to what someone can expect to come along and connect with you, Alan. How would you like folks to get in touch with you?
Well, I'm truly a believer that true knowledge is about experiencing things, right? If you don't experience things, again, if it doesn't happen physically, like we say, if you don't manifest it, well, we can talk about that forever, right? But if you don't, what you have to lose, take some action, right? So you go to themindclearing.com, right? And after there's a contact, there's a form that shows up, and you tell me, I want to try this for whatever you want. Doesn't matter, to reach your goal, to do whatever you want, and you will truly understand and experience what it is. Meaning, if you've got a problem or challenge, right, that it's 9 over 10, how bad it is, right? At the end of a session, it should be 0 or 1 maximum. Now, the problem can come back, right? But those will be only resistance, and we'll treat those resistance. You need to write down your circumstances, how you experience whatever, re-trigger that program, and we delete that, and we're good. Let's put things real, right? 70 to 80% of my people that I treat for pain, can be neck pain, low back pain, whatever symptom, will experience no more pain in 2 visits. And just reprogramming the mind. So I understand you say, man, this is crazy. No, this is how mind works. Yeah. Because I just want to say one more thing for people who are super skeptic, Jeff. In research study, double-blind research study. So let's see, I've got heartburn, right? And so they say, oh, if you take that pill, I'll be good. So, okay, I'm going to try. I take the pill, man, no more heartburn. I say, that stuff works very good. And I went to see them. They say, hold on, Dr. Salas. Actually, you didn't get the pill. you get the sugar pill. And this is called the placebo effect.
Yep.
So it means what? It means the belief, the subconscious belief, it can be conscious too, but it has to be subconscious. The subconscious belief that taking the pill will heal you. Maybe because my dad one day took a pill and his knee pain goes away, and I say, oh, pain, it's an empowering belief, right? And so if I take that, I believe in it. They call that the placebo effect. They brush it up, should I say, as a placebo effect. Man, that's how we truly heal. That's how we truly heal. That's not an effect, a secondary effect. That's how mind can heal the body. And so our mind can heal our thought. That's how mind can heal our emotion. That's how our mind can heal our behavior. So that's how our mind can heal our non-inspired action and unproductive action. That's how it works.
I think, and this is what I wanted to close with, so people have this understanding. And just like we talked about earlier, this is when I coach people, I like to give them an actionable plan, right? So that's like when you leave, I need you to go do this, and this will get you the results you're looking for. And what I equate this kind of work to is sometimes a preacher or a religious person would say, "Hey, you need to pray about it." I've heard that a lot in my life. I grew up around church, not in church in the organized church now, but I remember like someone saying, "Hey, you just need to pray about it." And when I found this kind of work, like you just explained, that gave me the actionable items to make that prayer come to life. This is the part what I wanted folks to know is like this, what Alan just explained is the actionable items that you can physically and mentally do behind that prayer that leads you into just a new area. It takes you into a new path. It opens up new things. You start to process your why, your purpose, your what lesson you're trying to learn. But what you just said there teased that up perfectly, I think. And I think what you just said closes the loop on someone that's struggling, that is in that loop. They're all the things we just talked about. They're dealing with cancer. They're all the negative. They hate their life and world right now. And someone has said, "Hey, you need to pray about it." And they go, "I've done that." But this right here is an actionable item of something that you can implement that reframes and rewires. And man, I really want to thank you for bringing this to me. And because I have my own struggles and I deal with my own things, right? And
We
it's
all
just,
do.
yeah. So I can't thank you enough, Alan, to leave that with us today of this conversation. And folks, it does. You may be like, ah, man, I don't know. This sounds too woo woo for me, and that's okay. I get that, but at least reach out for Alan, get on an email list, bookmark his website, because I'm telling you, if you hear this conversation at any point in time, it was meant for you. So make sure that you jump in on and connect with Alan and over at themindclearing.com. Make sure you connect with him and just listen to the work that he does and replay this episode again. I'm going to put a blog post up on it because it's that important to me, because I believe in the power of this work, and because I'm a very big benefactor to it. So thank you, brother. Appreciate you being with us today, man.
No problem. I just want to add one more thing. If they mention your program, right, your podcast, they will get 20% discount on the treatment. And if they want to learn it for themselves, like that, they can use it for themselves all the time. I will teach, of course, I do that, and they will get 30% of the mind clearing and the goal and success clearing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, make sure that's even more reason for you folks to connect. Make sure you mention the Jeff Robertson show for Alan and connect with him and take advantage of that discount. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate Jeff and to be that open-minded. That's new technology, but he's going to break through. He has to.
Yeah, absolutely.